Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another Offside Maidens show. My name is Emily Norris, and I will be your host for this evening. Tara is unfortunately unavailable to make it, so it is just the twins and I chilling tonight. We'll have two guests later on the show, but I'll introduce them later. So before we start, please just smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, comment in the super chat there. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the show tonight. We'll be speaking about Faf, we'll be speaking about the IPL, Chris Morris, T20 Challenge. So yeah, there's a lot happening. But firstly, twins, how are you guys doing?
Doing okay, just
feeling a little lonely because we're just like the two of us, or the three actually.
It's a bit empty here, but it's okay.
Well, we got this.
Yes.
We got this.
You just counted yourselves as one person there.
Yeah, the twins.
Cool.
Yeah.
So tonight, let's start with Faf. Obviously, you guys heard Faf retiring from Test cricket. What did you guys feel? How did you guys feel when you heard that?
Well, I mean, obviously it wasn't as random as AB's retirement, but I mean, I think it's not too devastating. I don't think it was too shocking. Maybe it was a bit like, a lot of people were saying they were hoping to see more from Faf in let's say in a test format, because I mean, I think it was now recently with the Sri Lanka test that he made his highest, I think, was it the 199 was his highest score. So I don't think it was really too devastating to the team, although I mean he is like one of the last like great ones to go. So
but I mean we will still see him in T20 format.
Yeah,
so
obviously.
Really look forward to seeing him there.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see a different side of Faf. Maybe he will, I don't know, shine pretty
in
bright there.
IPL and stuff. Yeah, hopefully CSK won't fall out too early. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, like when I first heard that announcement, I was shocked. But actually, Mpho he predicted it on one of the earlier shows. He said, "Is this Faf's last series as a Test player?" And it was. So he had clairvoyance there.
He's clairvoyant.
But yeah, I was sad because I'd love to see more of Faf, especially because for me, ending on a higher score of 199 is really like heartbreaking. But I think it's something important to remember. What Aaron was saying is that he won't be remembered for that 199 that he went out on. He'll be remembered for everything else. His brilliant debut in Adelaide in 2012, batting to save that Test match. And a whole lot of other memories. I mean, do you guys just want to share some of your memories or things about Faf that you loved in the Test format?
I think you know which one I'm going to share first. But I think one of the major highlights I would say would be at the 2011 World Cup in India. So I think Virendra Sehwag was batting, and apparently he was causing a lot of havoc. He was just all over the show. And then the last resort was probably to call on Faf to bowl 1 over, and that was like considered the breakthrough over. And here Faf is bowling. He takes Sehwag's wicket. So I think that was just like holy, other words, deep waste, I don't know. And it's just like I've never seen Faf bowl. Maybe he has bowled before, but for me that was just like in a moment of stress, he just, even the odds right there. So for me, that was quite something to remember. I think. I mean, in South Africa also won that game. So
I think the thing for me about Faf is that he's so. Oh, sorry. Did you want to say anything?
No, it's cool. No, carry on. It's fine.
I think the thing for me about Faf is that he's so. I mean, he's not a one-dimensional player. Like he could play in any format. He was a brilliant fielder. I mean, for me, like I won't forget, in the slips, I think he took, I can't remember which Test match it was, but he took a brilliant one-hand catch at slip.
Yes.
And the catches that he takes on boundaries, catching it and then throwing it back as he goes over the boundary, throwing it back in.
Yes.
his fielding was just also like phenomenal, and just that he could contribute in tests, he could contribute in T20s, ODIs, and then still on top of that, he was a brilliant captain, in my opinion. What did you guys think about his captaincy compared to sort of the other captains for South Africa?
Well, I think I noticed about Faf he's got a really calm demeanor, so you won't so much just see him, batting like crazy or trying to make runs, impossible risks and things. Well, I mean, obviously, maybe he took some calculated risks. I suppose, obviously, you have to make such decisions as well. But I think as a captain, he was really calm, and he was also calming. I mean, whoever was out on the pitch with him, it just seemed like they doing this in partnership. I can't remember if it was against. I can't remember what we were playing against, but I think him and Kesh were at the crease, and I think that was the match that Keshav made about, what was it, 60 or 70, something like that, with Faf, or was it? Yeah, and I think that was really something. I don't know if Kesh has ever made that kind of runs or that kind of score actually. So I think
he's a good mentor, maybe.
Yeah,
on
like
the field.
on the field, and they were communicating a lot, and that's really good, like communication from captain and players, and also because he's not like a top order batsman, or Kesh now, he isn't a top order batsman or anything, but he's a bowler, and he was still able to pull that off, and it was just really great to watch. And Faf is just great to watch. Like you have to, you just have to enjoy Faf.
And I mean his captaincy also, when that that match against Australia, the controversial one. I think he handled the media there also very well. So I think his personality, or his personality on the field as well as in front of the cameras, were very much similar. He wasn't different there. Or I think he was just very consistent in terms of his personality. I think so. I think he handled that quite well.
Yeah, I think that's a good point you made. Like, I think Faf is just, I mean, besides being a great cricketer, he is a great person. And I think for me, like, it always stand out, like, he backs his players on the field. He backs them 100%. And one photo that sort of sticks in my brain is that when Khiso Rabada, I think it was like one of his early wickets that he got, Faf just ran up to him and kissed him on the forehead. Like, it's just that, it's just that joy that he has, and he backs his players. He just always backs them, and that's something I really like. And also now, like, in COVID, just like the things he's been doing, for different organizations and stuff. Like, he just seems like a really, just really nice person. And that's cool. Like, you're not just a brilliant cricketer, but also you have a great personality. So that's great. Is there anything else you guys want to add about Faf, or is that pretty much?
I can't remember if it was in his debut was it the Adelaide Test? Was it there where he tripped over his shoelaces or something? I'm not sure.
What?
I don't know. Something I can't remember. Maybe I'm confused, but it was quite comedy. Shame. But I mean, debut. On debut, it's like, whoop.
Shame. Maybe that like calmed his nerves or something.
Yeah, and then he went to get 110 or something.
We need to trip on our laces.
Yeah, we need to trip on our laces,
Yeah, we have a comment here from Shaib. Faf du Plessis was instrumental in bringing back cricket to Pakistan. He cared for the game and cared for fans all across the globe. And you see, that's the thing about Faf. He loved, he loved playing cricket anywhere, and he wanted to sort of see the game, or he wants to see the game grow everywhere. Let's not speak as if Faf is dead. Faf is very much alive. But yeah, like, his impact, like, in different countries is also what is really important. Like, he had a great impact on and he does have a great impact on cricket in South Africa, but also crickets around the world. So let's move on to IPL, because we're going to be seeing Faf in IPL. So Chennai Super Kings retained Faf. So we'll be seeing him there. So because we don't have Tara here, unfortunately, or Lisha, or Lucy, we decided to bring two very well-known guests on the show. You guys have definitely seen them before, and they will help us and give us some insight into the IPL. So let's welcome Aaron and Aditya onto the show. Here we go. They're joining now. Hey guys. Hey Aaron. Hey
Hello
Aditya.
everyone.
How you guys doing?
Very good. Been better. I'm going to be honest.
Aaron, you are long time no see, Aaron. It's been a while.
Although to be fair, Emily, I have to admit, what's the choice of that shirt? RCB or nothing? Kolkata.
So this is the first team that I ever supported, so that's why I'm wearing the shirt.
Okay.
But Aaron, you were very involved in the IPL. Sort of, you were live streaming. You were listening to the auction, everything. Could you maybe just give us some insight into how the auction works? How do they go about bidding for players?
Well, basically, I suppose the start of this is with the players themselves. So each of the players set a base price. So that's the first number that you see. So you'll see players with like a 20L, that just stands for lakh. Aditya, of course, you'll be able to explain that in more detail, or 1 crore, 1.5 crore, 2 crore, etc. That's how much the player thinks that they're worth. And basically, a franchise will bid on them, and then you can see bidding wars, they escalate. We saw that with Chris Morris, of course, who went for 16.25 crore. That's over $2 million. That is absolutely insane.
Yeah, it's over 32 million rand for South African viewers out there. Yeah,
yeah, I can do the maths for that in my head. I'm going to be honest.
That's a lot of money.
But yeah, the most expensive player in IPL history. But with regards to the auction itself, so you have all of these different categories. So for example, today you'd have capped batsmen, capped all-rounders, capped fast bowlers, capped spinners, and then you have uncapped as well. So for example, a fantastic one for me as an RCB fan, Mohammad Azharuddin from Kerala. He's an uncapped wicketkeeper batsman. We picked him up for his base price of 20 lakh. And that's just basically how it works. It's just whoever pays the most money gets them, basically, in the IPL auction.
Yeah,
okay.
Just to jump in.
Yep.
Just to jump in. Every team has a squad of 25 players, 17 of whom are Indian, 8 of whom are overseas players. So in total, across the 8 teams, basically got 200 players playing a particular season of the IPL, and in this IPL, I believe there were about 1,000 players that registered for the auction.
Yeah, it's mental.
Yeah, over 1,000 players.
Sure.
And then are there sort of like levels in a sense of, can you make like a certain level and then not make the next one to actually make the auction? Because I saw something about Tabari Shamsi saying he didn't make the final. So can you just explain how that works?
Do you want to go for that, Aditya?
So, I think that varies by season, because it has something to do with the number of teams expressing interest in players, because they do have to streamline the auction. You can't possibly have an auction that goes on for 5 or 6 days involving all 1,000 cricketers, because if you look at the scouting infrastructure in all of these teams, they can't possibly have seen all of these 1,000 cricketers. So I guess they streamline, since each team can only pick 8 overseas players. So they have to streamline the number of players that they can really auction physically. And so I guess that's how it works. So with Shamsi, unfortunately, I don't think there was enough franchise interest. And that's unfortunate, because he played for the RCB a couple of years ago, and he was fantastic. I thought that we'd see a lot more of him in the IPL in future seasons, but it's unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching a bit of the auction, and like, I think the spinners, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they like got a bit of the short end of the stick there.
Absolutely.
I mean, a lot of them didn't get chosen. I don't know, Aaron, you obviously, watching it closely. What was your opinion on that? I mean, obviously India have brilliant spinners, but so do other countries. But spinners in general weren't that popular. Why do you think? Why do you think that wasn't the case?
Well, I think it's probably because the majority of the teams already had a set spin attack. So RCB, for example, we had Washington Sundar, we had Yuzvendra Chahal, we've got Pavan Deshpande who can potentially bowl. We've got a load of spin options, and most teams had pretty much set up their spin attack. So for a team like Delhi and Mumbai, they just had little bits and pieces here and there. That's why we saw Mujibur Rahman get selected and Piyush Chawla get selected. But yeah, the spinners got the short end of the straw this year. It's a bit of a shame, really, because there were some fantastic spinners. Adil Rashid, who's never had an IPL contract, I thought he could have been a potential one for this year. Sandeep Lamachane, who's been so instrumental in the growth of Nepalese cricket as well. And yet we didn't get to see these guys. So for me as a spinner, It was a little bit anticlimactic. I do feel a bit bad for these guys, but as I said already, most teams are already pretty set in their spinners. You've got elite spinners in the Indian subcontinent already in the domestic setup, so I can kind of see why, but yeah, just a bit of a shame as a fellow spinner, I would say.
Yeah, Aditya, I don't know how much of it you watched, but we know that RCB sort of went go big or go home type of thing. Spending about 30 crore or something like that on
33 crores.
Yeah,
33 crores
on two players or something like that.
Between 3 players.
Yeah.
Between 3 players, okay. So,
Max.
Aditya, what do you think? I mean, we know that RCB's bowling has maybe, well, in my opinion, RCB's bowling has been the weak part of their campaign for the last 3 or 4 years. Aditya, what do you think? Do you think getting Carl Jamieson for a ridiculous amount of money, do you think that's going to help? I mean, obviously it will help, but what happens if he doesn't perform consistently? So what's your opinion on that?
See, that's the trouble with RCB, right? Generally, the nature of these auctions is that teams essentially they try to squeeze each other's purses so that they spend a lot of money on this one player, but then they all have significant gaps in the rest of the roles that they want to fill because they just don't have enough money in the purse to have those players. So with RCB, I think they're guilty of this virtually every season. This year they spent 14 on Maxwell, 15 on Kyle Jamieson, whose base price was 75 lakhs, by the way, and about 4.8 crores on Dan Christian. And then, so you look at 95% of their purse was exhausted right there, as Aaron sent Aaron sent me a message. So I think they're guilty of doing that. Last year they did the same thing with Chris Morris. They got him for 10 crores. They'd want both Maxwell and Jameson to perform, definitely. And in a short interview that Mike Hessen gave after, they said that they were looking for Maxwell and also for Steve Smith, but in an ideal scenario, they would have liked to pay less for Maxwell. We'll have to see. And it's funny. Like if you look at the bidding war between the Chennai Super Kings and RCB. The Super Kings were essentially they wanted Maxwell as well, and they kept on bidding for him, and they got into this war, but eventually they squeezed out 14 crores from the RCB purse, and they got a similar player in Moeen Ali for half the price. So to me, I don't think this was an accident. I thought this was pretty deliberate on Chennai's part. They really wanted to squeeze RCB out.
Very good. Yep, spot on, Aditya. I said it during the auction live stream. It was a deliberate ploy by the Chennai Super Kings, of course, with that southern Indian rivalry between Karnataka and Tamil Nadu coming into full effect. Yeah, they completely done us there, to be honest, to put it in an English phrase. Ridiculous figures today. I mean, there were a lot of players who went for extraordinary amounts of money. Chris Morris being one of them, Carl Jamieson being another one, Glenn Maxwell being another one, Jai Richardson again, another one. And probably the most surprising one for me, Krishnappa Gautam, 9.25 crore. Okay, this is a guy who got absolutely hammered last year for the Kings 11 Punjab. And it's nothing against him. He is one of the best domestic all-rounders in India. But again, you look at him and Maxwell, and you compare their performances from last season, there's no way that those two should be generating that much of a price. There's absolutely none. And this is exactly what Aditya mentioned. It's this constant bidding war. It's the one-upping of each of the franchises. And I think today, in particular, Chennai, yep, fair enough. You got one over on us. But then at the same time, RCB did the exact same thing to Rajasthan with Chris Morris. So, yeah, is what it is, but not ideal from an RCB perspective at all.
Yeah, and I think you were mentioning in your live stream how Glenn Maxwell, yes, he's a brilliant batsman, but he's not going to sort of be someone who will. I mean, if he comes in when they're 30 for 4, he's not going to be someone who's sort of going to be there and bowl an innings. He's more going to be someone he's like a David Miller, in my opinion. So he's going to be someone who's going to like look for boundaries and things like that. So I think they might have missed a trick there. It could have gotten Steve Smith, I feel, because I think you said it earlier as well. Steve Smith, absolute steal. Absolute steal for Steve Smith. So I'm interested to see how it's going to go down. Obviously, I want to see Jameson perform, and I want to see Glenn Maxwell perform. But yeah, we'll see. It was a very interesting auction for me this year. I mean, for Jara for one as well. Very interesting points there. But the Twins, I know you're also speaking about Chris Morris. What do you guys feel? Do you think that price tag, do you think it's warranted? Yeah, what's your guys' opinion on the 16.25 crore? Yeah, how do you guys feel about that? 32 million rand.
32 million.
I just wondered why he was so wanted, man. Like, what is it about him that they liked or see in terms of maybe his stats or his performance that they really thought, look, guys, we need this guy in our team, so we will bid probably the highest as best as we can. So I don't know what it is about specific players that makes teams bid such ungodly amounts of people. So yeah, I don't know. If people just educate us on the thoughts there.
Janine, do you have anything to add there? Or
No, I'm also just trying to find out how does the thought process go.
Because everyone was so surprised to see Maxwell, and then after Glenn Maxwell, and then here comes Chris Morris just shooting right past him, yo, yo, it's just crazy. But I actually have another question. Sorry, that's up now. I wanted to know, you guys were discussing, the Indian players and then the overseas players. So I just want to know, is there a specific limit or something on how many overseas players they list per team, or is it just I don't know, how do they choose that? How do they go about it?
So, Aditya, I don't know. I know you guys probably both know the answers to one of them, but Aditya, do you want to maybe answer that question that they asked, and then Aaron, you can ask their previous question about what was so special about Chris Morris. So, Aditya, do you want to answer that question?
Yeah. 17 Indian players and 8 overseas players per team. That's the limit, and the purse is 85 crores. No team can spend more than 85 crores on the squad.
Just a quick question there. So what happens if you spend all your money and you haven't bought all your players? Then what happens there?
I'm not sure. That's your loss. I don't think there's anything other than that. But I think there's also a cap on how much you can pay each player. It's not I don't think you can pay one player $30 million and just to not have the rest of the squad. So I don't remember what the figure for that cap is, but there is a cap.
Okay, now the next question. What's so special? Yeah.
With regards to Chris Morris, well, to be fair, I'm here in my RCB shirt, and to give him a lot of credit, Chris Morris last season was absolutely exceptional. Played 9 games for us, 11 wickets, 6.3 economy rate as well. Fantastic at the death, was executing those Yorkers to perfection. So he was definitely a massively highly touted player heading into this year's auction. And the reason why his price was so steep was because 2 of the franchises with the biggest budgets in Rajasthan and Punjab were both bidding it. They were both going head-to-head, tete-a-tete for his signature. So that price was just rising and rising and rising and rising. And it's almost just a show of strength between these 2 franchises as to see who would give up first. And unfortunately, that ended up being the Punjab Kings, as they're now known, not Kings 11, as I've been saying all day. But a very, very good signing, I must admit, for the Rajasthan Royals. It looks very extortionate. There's going to be a tremendous amount of expectations and pressure on Chris Morris to deliver just as he did for RCB last season, and of course to not get injured. But in terms of what he provides for Rajasthan, you slot him alongside that trio of Ben Stokes, Joss Butler and Jofra Archer. You have that death bowling option alongside Jofra, something which Rajasthan struggled so tremendously with last year with the likes of Varun Aaron, Ankit Rajput and Jada Vinadkat. And suddenly the transfer itself makes a lot of sense. So from a purely team perspective, it was a brilliant piece of business. But because it was between the 2, richest franchises per se in the budget department, that's why his price was so steep in this particular auction.
Yeah, great points you make there. I was actually going to say the same thing of, Jofra there, he needed another death bowler. And That's what he got. Oh, okay. Mars is useless for 16 pros. No, but I mean, I disagree with I disagree with that comment. I don't think he's useless. I mean, in my opinion, he was also, I mean, brilliant death bowler for RCB, and he can contribute to the bat. So, I mean, and in the field as well. So I think that's like what you were saying, Aaron. Like Rajasthan needs a death bowler.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely good for him, and good for Chris Morris, highest IPL bid in history. So good for him too. Let's just move on to T20, the T20 challenge starting tomorrow actually. Twins, what are you guys looking forward to? Obviously a lot of the Proteas players back. Who are you excited to see? I know you have there's some clairvoyance there that you guys are going to speak about. So who are you excited to see?
Kish.
Yeah, I know we said that Kish was going to be captain, but because we didn't say for what, so boom, he was
Captain for the Dolphins. So yeah, kind of predicted that, but maybe
Yeah.
also just guessed it. But,
yeah.
But we're glad to see him there in that captaincy.
Yes.
And yeah, I think
I don't. Is Pavuma captaining the? Did I
Lions.
see correctly? Was it
Yeah.
Pavuma the Lions?
Yes, yeah.
I don't know.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
there's
there we
the
go.
squads.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I yes.
Just like
Then yes.
Okay, Bjorn is in Lions. Oh, okay.
So before we say,
Yeah,
because I just wanted to actually keep Aaron and Isha on here to ask them too, like who they're looking forward to,
Yeah.
because I know you guys are also very interested in South African cricket. So before we say goodbye to you two, who are you guys looking forward to seeing? I don't know. Will you be able to see it? You will be able to watch it, right? I mean, I'm not sure.
Vaguely, I don't think it's televised, but we'll try and find a stream somewhere of it at some point here in England. With regards to me, I do like the Titans, so I'm very much looking forward to seeing Simon Harmer back in action. Been fantastic for the Essex Eagles in the T20 Blast here in England. So for me, definitely Simon Harmer. Of course, looking at the names there, Tabraiz Shamsi, he's an absolute gun. Clarkson, Markram. Oh God, the list goes on and on and on. So for me, definitely looking forward to seeing the Titans back in action. And of course, the Lions as well. A very, very strong team, fantastic domestic players. And yeah, should be a fantastic tournament for all 6 teams, really. It's promising to be a very, very tight and close tournament, in my view.
Aditya, who are you sort of excited to see? Obviously, a lot of Proteas players back there.
Yeah, from this bunch of players that we've seen, the Lions and the Titans, I want to see how Temba Bavuma goes. In previous conversations that I've had with Khalid and Bo and everyone, they've been pretty vocal about having Quinton de Kock and Temba Bavuma open the batting at the T20 World Cup in India in October. So yeah, I'd be interested to see how Temba Bavuma goes. I think a good performance here would go a long way in making a statement for that sport. Additionally, I want to see how Aiden Markram goes in the T20 format, because we haven't seen a lot of him in limited overs cricket recently, and I'd love to see him get that aggressive flair back. So yeah, definitely Temba Bavuma and Aiden Markram for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. Thanks so much, guys, for coming on the show. Really appreciate it. You guys know a lot about IPL, so it was nice to hear about your guys' opinions. But Jerry, we'll chat soon again. And yeah, thanks so much.
No problem. Always
Thank
a
you.
pleasure, guys. See you in a bit.
Cool, guys. So let's just go back to sort of the T20 challenge.
Yeah.
Obviously, you said Proteas coming back. What do you think that sort of does for the competition? Because now, it's going to be a mixture of franchise guys, and obviously the Proteas are franchise, but they're going to be coming back. So how do you think that challenges the franchise players?
Maybe, I think it'll give them a bit more confidence also, and to be able to learn from the more experienced guys, and then to obviously implement into their own game and also develop themselves. And then also to, I think, like as a team, and be able to like learn from each other. And yeah, I mean, they're in this bubble for quite a bit, so they are like sort of not forced, but like kind of forced to like get to know each other. So it's going to be like, you get to know this person, how he plays, what he does, his personality, and those kind of things. And I think it'll be positive, or it should be. I think, yeah.
But also,
Yeah,
looking
definitely.
forward to-
Sorry, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, go ahead. Go
No,
ahead.
I'm just saying. No, I'm just saying we're looking forward also to the Zosi as captain of the Cobras. So, um,
Yeah.
just looking at his figures
Yes.
as well was pretty good
Yanaman,
stuff.
and Yanaman.
So
and,
yeah,
yes.
backing the Cobras all the way.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I was going to say I'm also very excited to see Tony Zorzi captaining again. He was obviously the captain in the 2016 Under-19 World Cup.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see him captaining. I think some of the guys actually were in that year with him. But yeah, I'm interested to see him. And then obviously Kesh. Oh, hey Lita, thanks. As long as the rain stays away during the day, it's going to be an amazing CSA T20 challenge. Great job hosting me. Yeah, it's definitely going to be great. I think my worry too is the rain. I saw someone post something on Twitter, tweet something about the forecast. So I kind of hope that person's wrong, like because we know Durban and Durban's weather, but let's just hope there are some games. Obviously, there was the disappointment of Momentum One Day Cup as well being rained out. So yeah, let's hope it's
our
not.
clairvoyance doesn't work on weather. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, guys, come on, come on.
Don't reduce that.
Yeah.
I think
so.
sorry.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
No, I was just saying. You were also. I think you were also in the live Instagram live thing with Imran Manak and
the Cobras
Ziad
dudes.
thing. So I think that was also really interesting to watch, to see how they are also coping in the bubble and how they're going about their things. It was quite funny and a lot of banter there, but it's quite interesting.
Yeah, the comments are a bit lit.
Some other people.
I think some of the comments were offside, but I think
very bad.
what you guys are saying is true though. Like, I mean, there's not much to do in the bubble. They can't go out and stuff, so they spend like a lot more time with each other and getting to know each other, which is good. Because like they can be close or get to know each other off the field, and then I'm pretty sure that helps with how they play on the field. So yeah, I mean, the bubble obviously impacts players. I mean, I think. Yeah, we know that Quinton de Kock isn't playing in this tournament because he's taking a mental health break. So what are your guys, I mean, do you have any comments on that? I know I was speaking to Jess earlier, but do you have any comments on that mental health break sort of? I mean, the bubble must be super difficult, and we know it's difficult on players. So do you have any, what do you want to say about that?
I mean, I think from what I have read of people responding on this mental health break, and I do think it is definitely necessary because, I mean, at the end of the day, you don't just want to be a good sportsman, you also want to be healthy, not just physically, but also mentally as well. So I think your mental capacity also has an effect on how you play at the end of the day, if a lot of sledging happens or a lot of, chirping happens there, how do you deal with it? How do you deal with the media? How do you deal with the fans? Being a captain on top of that as well. So I think this is a deserved break that he needs to take. And yeah, we'll see him when we see him, I suppose. If I can just quickly quote the tweet from Kesna, I just thought it stood out for me. She said that, it's a lot of pressure also on him as a captain because, or even just the players in general, they had to keep us entertained during a pandemic. That's specifically what she said. And I think, we could have all have just, switch off everything and just be like, this is a pandemic, we're just cutting off of everything. But people still thought like, let's keep the sport going, let's entertain the people out there. And I think that was an extra strain on them as well because, this pandemic wasn't one of the most friendliest. But I think, we also have to take a lot into consideration about people that are retiring AK5 and people that are taking mental breaks, Connie. So I think we need to give them their space, give them their
give him a break.
They this is what they're doing for their career. That's what they are doing, and there's nothing we can really do about it. So I think it's really good for Connie.
Yeah, because I mean, he did a lot. I mean, maybe he wasn't doing too well with the bat or on the field and things. And I'm pretty sure he did try his best, but you could obviously see, he's drained, he's tired. So obviously you don't want to push yourself too far or beyond your own capacity or your own limits, and just for sports. And I mean, obviously people say, oh, but it's not just a sport. I mean, that's true, it's not just sport, but like in the end, you want to know you are getting enough sleep, getting enough rest, not being too stressed out to do the job for your country or whatever, and such things. But yeah, I think it's good to take a break, and I think he did receive a lot of flack, and I think people need to chill. But yeah, no, I think it's good for him, and hopefully he can come back stronger. I don't know if I saw his name in IPL drafting. Maybe, I'm not sure. I don't think he's playing IPL. Might need to check on that.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I don't know.
if he doesn't, that's fine. I mean, I think he should do what's best for him, and taking a break is the best choice. Then he should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was also going to comment on that. Like, I think the fans often underestimate the bubble and how it affects players. I mean, obviously, different players are different, so it's going to affect players differently. And I think fans are often hard on the players in that sense, and expect too much sometimes. So yeah, I mean, I'm happy he's taking a break. I think, like you said, he needs to focus not just on the game, but also on his health and all around life. So yeah, I'm glad he's taking a break. But yeah, I think that ends the show. Do you guys have anything else you want to say, or do you have anything else you want to comment
That's
on?
great. No, that's cool.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much to everyone for watching, for tuning in tonight. There is a show at 8. Cricket Fanatics Mag is going to be speaking about the IPL in more detail, about the auction and what went down there. So don't forget to tune in at 8. Oh, there's not. Okay. But yeah, like our channel, subscribe, and please come to more Offside Maiden shows. Everyone will have a full panel on the next show. So yeah, thanks so much for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you very soon.